Hello, everyone, and welcome to the League Prediction Show MSI edition, sponsored by Prize Picks. It's been fantastic working with Prize Picks on these. We've got another episode for you. We're recording this on Sunday the 6th, so the night before we get into the final stage of MSI. And I'm joined right now by a couple of friends, and not joined by Croissant, who is unfortunately last minute unavailable for the second show again in a row, but that's fine. We hope everything's going well with him because I know he said he had some stuff come up. Cubby, how are you doing?
Doing great, Travis. Hotline League was fun, and you're stuck with youngins, I fear.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I will. Well, I think Croissant old? Let me look up.
Maybe. I mean, I'm 29. I don't know if that doxes where Croissant's at. He might be younger than me, but I viewed him as older because I
I
watched his
don't. I
content
don't think
for
Croissant is in his
stuff.
30s. I think he's younger than you.
All right. Well, that's great.
Yes. Yeah.
Still you
Uh.
and the youngins. Either
Yeah.
way.
Also, you're almost 30. Let's move on with the show. We're gonna introduce Bahir. Bahir, how's it going?
Mm. I'm doing pretty good. Event has been really enjoyable. Yeah, can't really complain.
Yeah, I know you
Awesome.
just called into Hotline League talking about how much you've enjoyed it, so it's been kind of cool to
Yeah, no, it's been phenomenal.
hear you. Awesome. Well, for those that are unfamiliar with how the show works, this is a show in which we first talk a little bit about our predictions for MSI and how things are going and just sort of predict some of the matches. But in the second half of the show, because it is sponsored by Prize Picks, we do create some lineups with Prize Picks, different squares from Prize Picks to talk a little bit about whether or not these are lineups we would submit or not for our Prize Picks lineup. So we'll get into that in just a little bit. But do want to shout out PrizePicks for sponsoring the show. But first off, let's talk a little bit about anything that has surprised you in the past week. Because I feel like while everybody agrees that the matches have been really good, I don't feel like there's been too many upsets. Cubby,
hmm
do you agree or disagree?
No, I 100% agree. I think that like my pick'ems, the only match I missed was MCoy over CFO. Um, I think that the fact that every team has gotten games off of teams that are perceived as better. It's like the lack of 3-0s really, and then the 3-0 being T1 BOG, which is frankly surprising, has kind of kept everything fresh, even if results have been pretty expected.
Yeah. How about you, Mahir? Anything that was exciting or surprising to you?
No, honestly, my pick'ems are still perfect. I think what's exciting for me is I think we're finally seeing, or this might be the best form we've seen. The It's called the LCP, but I'm gonna refer to it as like the LCP slash PCS historically. This is the best rendition I feel like we've seen since the Flash Rules roster that was known as a Korean Killers, way back when. So for me, it's super exciting for those guys to have a team to really root for that legitimately like they are an underdog, but they can also punch up. Like I think it's just super cool to see a lot of the like I don't think there's a single region other than EU that should be disappointed with how their teams played at MSI.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
my two biggest surprises would be Honkyu as a player, and
Mhm.
then Caps is now the second. He has the second most international games played of all time. He hit it. He
Which is
hit it
kind of
at this
crazy.
tournament. So it's
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Faker
kind of
then
crazy.
Caps. That for me was a huge
When I
surprise
heard
hearing
that
that. It's like,
stat, I
wow,
was like, that is
what a
crazy.
legacy
Yeah.
stat.
Yeah.
What a legacy
Mhm.
stat. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, uh, I mean, I would agree with everything y'all said in terms of just matches being great, but also not too many upsets or surprises. But before we get into creating our lineups for the next 3 days, I thought it would be kind of fun to go through the three matches and see what your predictions are for each of them. So I know we talked a little bit about this on Hotline League with you, Cubby, but just to kind of recap for the people who haven't watched it yet, what do you think of CFO AL? How many games? What's the result?
I have a 3-1 for AL. AL is a top three team coming into the tournament in terms of strength, and I think that what they've shown so far, they've hit that. So I don't think that Honkyu is good enough to hands gap Shanks the way that he's done to some of the other mids he's faced so far.
Yeah.
So I got AL 3-1.
All right. And how about you, Mahir?
I'm in Cubby's boat. As I have AO winning for sure. I'm not too sure what the match score will be. I definitely don't think it's a 3-0 because I think if like AL definitely is one of the tournament favorites, but I also don't think they're as untouchable as Gen.G T1. I think both those teams have displayed a very good form, so I'd probably predict either 3-1 or 3-2, but definitely AL.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have. Well, I guess I'll chime in for fun. I think AL 3-2, because I do think CFO is running hot and have been doing really well. And I think that they could do some interesting stuff. And as Mahir was saying, I don't think the AL is on like god tier status yet. So, all right, Tuesday we have Fly BLG. Cubby, what's your prediction?
A little bit with the heart. FlyQuest 3-2. I actually really believe and have faith in this team. I think that T1 like shared the roadmap of how you beat BLG, and it's just going to be, can Blippo and Quan be strong enough to try and emulate that? Um, so I think that the style that they excel at and can play is what T1 proved is usable to beat BLG, and I think that there are some mistakes in there that are actually abusable by BLG instead of them just having a day where they didn't show up, which for sure was the case that day. But I still think they're a beatable team.
Yeah. And then how about you, Mahir?
I am in the same boat as Cubby. I think BLG's greatest weaknesses is jungle right now. And I think the way jungle isn't really on the same page with a lot of their lanes. Carrier actually said this in a post game interview. He said the old BLG with Shun was kind of Shun enabling the laners, whereas it feels like this version of BLG is the opposite. I think Inspired, unironically, is better than Beishuan, and I think Busio on a good day can be better than On. So, assuming Fly has a good day, I hope they continue to have a lot of more good days. I would take Fly. I think it's actually going to be 3-1. I'm going to be a little bit spicy here. Maybe I'll get called a madman. But hey, scared money don't make money.
All right. Well, God, now I thought I would take some sort of, uh, devil's advocate's position here, but I don't want to. So I'm just gonna also say FlyQuest. I think FlyQuest is gonna beat PLG 3-2. I'm ready for North America to make
Yes,
some
Travis.
of its first huge leaps in quite some time. All right.
Yes.
So finally, we have T1 Gen.G, which is quite the exciting matchup. Is it El Clasico for Korea yet? I feel like it's got to be getting close to it if it's not. T1 Gen.G. Mahir, we'll start off with you. What do you think?
I am a very, very, very biased person to ask this question, but when I look at this tournament, I'm really impressed with how TL played versus BLG. I will say though, historically, Gen.G has been the stylistic almost kryptonite of T1, at least domestically. I have T1. Let me double check my pickums because I don't remember if I went against my gut or something for my pickums. Give me like 1 second. Let
Yeah.
me pull that up really quick.
Cubby, what do you think in the
But
meantime?
oh,
Of
T1
T1
Gen.G.
BLG.
No, T1
Oh, T1
Gen.G.
Gen.G.
Yeah.
Um, I
oh,
think Gen.G is still a team to beat at this tournament. I do have T1 winning the tournament, but I have them doing so in the lower bracket. I think that is more of a T1 is the team that shows up. T1 does feel like they've showed up for the most part. I know CFO is a 5 game series, but I think that they're still locking in their drafts, but feel like Gen.G gets them tomorrow. But that's
yeah.
just me. Yeah,
Uh,
or in a couple days here.
Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah.
I just checked my pickums. I actually had Gen.G winning both the first matchup, and I actually think they'll a rematch in the finals. So I definitely have Gen.G, just because I feel like there's less variance in their play. Whereas T1, as you mentioned, there's a 5 game series versus CFO, who are a very respectable team. But I also do think Gen.G is known for their macro. And when I look at T1, I think Doran at times he's had good games, but at times he's looked a little bit exploitable. So I think Gen.G wins this one, but I also think that they're going to meet again in the finals.
All right. Where you think Gen.G will win again?
Yeah, I think Gen.G will win the entire tournament. Yes.
All right. I will take T1 3-2 here, because I do feel like while they do lose to Gen.G domestically, I feel like they're in another world whenever they are playing internationally, and so I feel like we'll see T1. I guess they kind of line up really well with Cubby across the board here, unfortunately, for
Guess so.
the sake of conversation. All right, we're going to take a quick break here and explain to you all how Prize Picks works because the show is sponsored by Prize Picks. I sometimes see people who comment and say, like, hey, you talk about Prize Picks. This show is a show that exists only because Prize Picks willed it into existence through sponsorship, and their support and allowing us to do the show is what's allowed me to cover some of the costs of MSI, which I don't know if you all know, but traveling internationally for 3 weeks with another person is quite expensive. So I do really want to thank PrizePicks for helping with the support on all that. I have a video here that we've made. You've probably seen it before if you've been watching a lot of my content, but just as a refresher, this is how PrizePicks works, and it's going to break it down for you in this video. So here we go. Let me load. Oh, yeah, load it up for you right here.
This video is brought to you by PrizePicks, the best place to win cash while watching your favorite esports or sports. So I'm going to show you right now how this works on the app. It's super easy to use. So maybe I like Jojo Pyun at more than 9.5 deaths over the first 3 games of his series. And maybe I believe Mickey X is going to get less than 31 assists. I'll go in and hit finalize lineup, where it'll show me that if both these things end up coming true and I play an entry fee of, let's say, $20, I'm going to end up winning $60. PrizePicks is available in over 40 states, including California and Texas. And if you sign up, use that link below. It's a big thing that you can do to help me. You can use code Travis whenever you make your first lineup of $5 or more. Win or lose, they're going to give you $50. Now, please only choose to play PrizePicks if you can do so responsibly, but doing so and signing up does help my channel very much. And you can actually join the discussion with other TGI viewers in my Discord. We have a PrizePicks channel. If you're trying to get into it, that's a great place to start. So thanks so much to PrizePicks for sponsoring this piece of content.
All right, so we are back from the break where you all have learned how PrizePicks works. But yeah, thank you to PrizePicks. Please use. I know I said it in the chat, but if you can, or in the video, but if you can, please sign up using the link and use that code. It is very, very helpful to support the show because that's what helps bring in the sponsorship money. All right, let's talk a little bit about some of last week's predictions because Cubby, we were going back and forth. I didn't because we're coming straight out of Hotline League. I didn't get a chance to figure out which lineup. You gave 2 lineups last week, but I'm trying to remember the first one that you gave, which was technically your official one.
Well,
we're pretty sure it was Busio Knight.
yeah, this one's on me because the lineups that I gave were different than the ones that I actually submitted, but all included squares that I did talk about on the show.
Okay, so you added additional squares in and stuff like that, yeah.
Yes. So my lineups I had it inspired in Knight, at least personally, with more than 6.5 kills and more than 15.5 kills. We talked about that on the show. That one hit. The other 2 lineups did not. I had Busio more than 24.5 assists in 3 games, and then the Brav
And he hit
under 20 assists.
37, by the way.
At 37, the Brav missed by 3 because they won game 1 against Gen.G, which shouldn't have happened, but it's fine. And then I had another one where I had Keen with more kills against G2. That one did not hit.
Well,
He
the
had
one that
3.
I'm looking at that I submitted on your behalf was
Busio Knight.
Busio and Knight, and that one went through.
Okay. Yeah.
Busio with 37 assists over the 24.5 and 19 kills over the 15.5 for Knight. So that was really cool. So congratulations to you. You won. And this is, I think, the first time that we have ever had not just both people on the show win, but also somebody win with a 4 square lineup and Mahir. So take your bow. That was very, very impressive. You had Knight and Elk over 31 kills combined. They got 33. Ruler under 21 assists. He got 14. Carria over 2.5 kills, got 5. And Faker under 23 assists and got 20. And it was funny because he and Mahir and I were in the press room when we realized that he was so close to getting this Faker one, and we were watching the games together. And Faker played tanks and didn't do much, so it was great.
Yeah.
So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, well earned. Let's talk a little bit about what your lineups are for this week. Cubby, do you want to kick us off?
Oh, I thought we were gonna let the winner go first, but no.
You won.
We can go from here.
You both won.
I mean, did I win compared to the 4 score one hitting? I'm not sure. That's pretty awesome from me here. But what I've got coming up is, so I have a couple. I'm gonna go with probably the one I feel most confident in, which is I have Masu with more than 11.5 kills in the first 3 maps going up against BLG. And then I have Tarzan less than 10 kills against CFO. Now, I did say that I have AO winning the series. I think that the way that I've seen AL drafting so far, it feels like Tarzan is actually being denied some of the assassin picks that would create higher kill games, and is very much playing the supportive junglers that we expect so far. And going up against Junja, he is one of the stronger players on CFO. I mean, Tarzan's the better player going in, but that's not going to be a freebie.
You said
So
Tarzan
yeah,
under 26 and a half assists?
no, under 10
Under
kills.
under 10 kills. Okay, sorry, I was
Mhm.
grabbing them. Okay. So Tarzan under 10 kills, Masu more than 11 and a half kills. Okay.
Yes.
So, Mahir, what do you make of this? Would you
I
tail it?
agree with so Cubby's correct on both of those things. We've seen so far that the champions Tarzan has played, I think, the Bruisers, and I think he had a Skarner game as well.
Yeah.
So I think any kill related square for junglers is always tricky because either they get Nafiri or they get Sejuani. So it's like, okay, either they get like the most broken like point and click, I'll blow up your entire family, or it's like, you know, Sejuani. So I like the Tarzan one. The Mossy one for me is a bit tricky in the sense that I think Mossy's had a solid tournament, but depending on how clean these wins are, I'm not 100% sure how long these games will go. Because I think we both had
Yeah.
them winning. I think I had 3-1, you had 3-2, or maybe we both had 3-1. I'm just like, I'm just a little wary because I feel like at times Masu hasn't looked amazing on certain. I think he's had a solid tournament, but like the Ziggs game against I think AL, I think he kind of struggled a little bit. Some of it his
Yep.
fault, some of it not his fault. So I'm a little bit wary of that, but I don't think it's the worst thing. I think there's a couple ones that I think I chose instead, but I think those are solid picks.
Cool. All right. And then, Mahir, what would your lineup be?
So for the first time since I've appeared on this show, I'm recommending a is it called a flex?
Yes.
Flex
Yeah,
play.
yeah,
Hmm.
I'm recommending a flex play. The ones I have, Gumiyushi more than 11.5 kills in maps 1, 2, 3. Kaiwing more than 26 assists in maps 1, 2, 3. Chovy Ruler combination more than 25 kills maps 1, 2, 3. And then this one is the reason why it's a flex and not a power play. I have Beishuan less than 9 kills in maps 1, 2, 3.
Okay, less than 9?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you have another Foursquare this week, but
Mm-hmm.
for those that are not familiar with Prize Picks, you can either play this as a power play where you need all four squares to win in order to get a 10x multiplier, or you can play flex play where if all four hit, you get 6x, which is not 10x, but if you get three, you get to 1.5x. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a nice thing. Okay, so talk me through why did you go with flex play for this?
So I think Gumishi has had a really, really good tournament so far. Like, I've genuinely been super impressed with how much he's been able to bounce back, considering some of the obstacles he and T1 had to kind of overcome in the first split slash first half of split two. So I think Gumishi's had a solid tournament. We're looking at I think 4 kills a game, and he'll get the more on that one. So it's like he can do 4 kills a game. Like, dude, people are locking in Jin and dropping like LeBron numbers. Like, I think he'll be fine in that regards. I think CFO has been really solid, and it's been typically through the backs of the mid jungle. Like, honestly, everyone on CFO does great, right? And I think Kai Wing does a really good job of setting up not only his jungler to do well, but also Doggo. He plays pretty much everything. So I feel like considering he does like to prefer the engaged supports, he'll obviously be very active on the map. Um, I thought the Chovian ruler, the fact that the number was 25 for 3 maps, I think is really low because if one person's having a good game, they're never both having a bad game. Like, at least one of them is always playing well.
Yeah.
Sometimes one might take a more supportive role, like maybe Chovy's playing a more supportive champion and Ruler's on the carry, or vice versa, where Ruler's playing Ashe and Chovy's on the carry. But it's like we're essentially looking at if those guys combine for like 8 kills a game, 4 each, and then like an extra kill somewhere in between, then they hit that. And for me, it's like there's a reason why their T1's kryptonite, and I think it'll show in the match result. I think that number is way too low. Um, and then the last one I had was Beishuan less than maps 1 to 3 kills, and the reason is I think when Inspired is at his best, he's playing a very in-your-face style of jungle where it's almost invading a lot, it's skirmishing a lot, it's getting active in the early game, because he just that's how he really showcases his strength. Making a lot of early plays, whether it's around grubs. A couple of times it's been around scuttlecraft for whatever reason. It's 2025. It's not the same scuttlecraft from 2018, but there's been a lot of fights around early objectives, and I feel like that's typically where I've seen BLG struggle the most. Is Beishuan kind of connecting with Bin, who at times hasn't looked great. So based on how I expect Fly to approach the games, I think Inspired will be in a better position to put Beishuan behind. And I think he's already going to be playing more supportive champions anyways. So I don't think he'll be getting that many kills.
Yeah. Cubby, what do you make of this reasoning?
I mean, there are a lot of things going on here. So I'll say squares that I like and don't like. I was trying to follow along.
Yeah,
I
Guma
like
more, just to recap for the people that are listening. Guma
I like
more
Guma.
than 11.5 kills.
Yep.
Yeah. So you like
I
that
like
one.
Kai Wing.
Kai
Yeah.
Wing more than 26 assists. 26 assists is a lot. You like it, Cubby?
One messy game. AL will take like AL as a team. They do not play 3 lanes as much as they play 1-4s or like a collapsing side. Like Flandre will drop whatever wave is necessary to go play with his team. Some good, some bad. So that's gonna like that for me creates more action. And I have a 3-1. So I mean CFO is gonna win one of those 3 games if that's the case. So if like one's messy, one's one, and CFO's playing well enough where they're gonna make things messy too. From
Chovy and
there,
Ruler more than 25 kills.
that one I favor Gen.G in that series. I'm just a little bit more concerned about that one because like I don't when 2 LCK teams go toe to toe, sometimes the game really, really slows down. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
'Cause, like that's just the style that they play domestically, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so I think that's the one that I'm probably most worried about because I think especially with the form we saw the T1 play BLG. Historically, they haven't been able to play that way in Gen.G, but I thought T1 again played really, really well in that BLG series. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, for me, I'm probably most scared of that. I would not tail that one.
All right. And then Beishuan less than 9 kills
All
versus
in.
Fly.
That brother is only allowed to play dog champions. He is not there to take kills. He is there to be the dog for a solo lane. So I'm all in for that one. Yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like
Yeah.
while you wouldn't do this 4 square lineup of Flex, you would do a 3 square power play of Guma, Kaiwing,
Yes.
and Beishuan. Okay.
Yes, I would.
That's cool. All right. I actually think I know we didn't get one from Cubby or from Croissant this time, but I think I saw Adam post one in the Discord.
Discord.
Adam, who's very popular in the PricePicks channel and like shares a lot of different stuff. Uh, Adam put Shanks and Hope at less than 30 kills versus CFO as a combo. What do you think of that one, Mahir and Cubby?
Hmm. Uh,
That's a lot
Shanks.
of kills that has to be in mid bot, but it's
Yeah.
over. So what? 10 kills a game over 3 games. I think that's a lot. I just was claiming that AL plays fast, but I think it's another thing for like supports to rack up numbers in team fights versus kills being guaranteed on carries.
Yeah.
So I agree with Cubby. I mean, that number already on its own is really high. I think I actually took that number, but higher for like Knight and Elk for a different series.
Yeah.
But for me, when I look at Shanks specifically, um, it's like it really depends on what champion he gets. Because if you guys remember his Azir game against FlyQuest, I believe he had 10 kills. He's had an Akali game here. He's had I think it was a Aurora game against FlyQuest as well, where he played really well. So I think if he has those high kill games, it's possible. But also, he has at times looked a little bit shaky. So that's why I like the under, where it's like, I mean, against Gen.G, for example, he wasn't great. Um, he was all right, but I don't think he was like as stellar as he usually is. So I could totally see the under on that one, just because there's that. And then I also think Hope for me is a really interesting almost anomaly, because when I look at AL, they usually play well as a unit, but it's not like they have a hard carry. I think Hope is like obviously a very talented player, but I feel like I haven't seen too many hard carry games from him. I've seen some solid games, but I think he only has like one or two really high kill games. So I think the less on that one is very safe.
Well, what's funny
He's
is
champ limited for me.
is
to kind of go off
Prize Picks
of.
agrees with you because since Adam shared that one this afternoon, or I think maybe this morning, the square has moved down from 30 to 29.5. So
Hmm.
they agree. Okay, similarly, he has Tarzan at less than 10.5 kills versus CFO.
I do as well in another lineup.
How about you, Mahir?
The tricky thing is, I mentioned it when it was my turn. I could think Cubby mentioned it during his.
Yeah.
They haven't really given Tarzan much of the assassin picks, but
Yep.
it's like all it takes to ruin it is give him the Zed game, give him the Nefiri game, or give him like a really overperforming Jin Zhao game or Wukong game, and it's like it screws everything up. So I'm a
Yeah.
little bit I'm hesitant to mess with that one because of the caliber of player Tarzan is. Like there's a reason why I took the base one less than, but for
We
Tarzan it's like
yeah.
I'm scared they're gonna give him like one assassin game and then he just drops a million
We
kills.
kind of already had that discussion. I think the other interesting
Mhm.
thing is that the next square that he has is that it's a Junja less than
Mhm.
7.5 kills,
Yeah.
which that less than 7.5, that is not that's we're eating nothing in that one.
Yeah.
Well, I will
Yeah.
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 say, I I don't know if it was Adam or what, but Tarzan also moved down to 10. So it seems like Prize Picks agrees that Adam was in a good place, and Gen.G
Mhm.
moved from 7.5 down to 7. So all of these squares that Adam shared earlier have moved down. But yeah, you're at what if Gen.G at 7 instead of 7.5? Cubby, is this when you start to feel like maybe it's a good time to go more?
Yes. I again, I can see CFO winning a game, or like another game being closely contested, and if that's the case, like who's the most likely person to have kills on that team? It's probably Junja. Like he has to make a few things happen going on. So, yeah.
Hmm. All right. Well, cool. So we have a couple different lineups that we have shared. What are yours? Please let us know either in the Prize Picks channel on Discord or over on the YouTube comments for this video. We'd love to see that. Thank you so much to me here and Cubby for coming on the show and chatting with us about this stuff. We're hoping to
Yeah.
do another one of these. Hopefully, we'll do one on Thursday night and or Friday night, depending on Cubby's availability. If not with
Mhm.
Cubby, maybe we will try to find somebody else who can make onto the show. But thank you all, and we'll see you next episode next later this week. Bye.